Hello and welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. You all know who I am. Let's get started. Fight 31, Holdo versus Wicket. It is now 10 years after the Battle of Endor, and Ambassador Wicket of the Bright Tree Village is visiting the New Republic headquarters to see Leia, who he has always had a crush on. So, while he is there, Leia says, "Hey, Wicket, I want you to meet my dear friend, Amelin Holdo. She's a hippie." And Wicket's like, "Hello, ma'am, I'm Wicket." And Holdo says, "Oh, you're so cute." And Wicket says, "Please refrain from calling me cute. I am a deadly warrior of my tribe. I fought the great galactic empire. In the celebration of our victory, we feasted on the roasted flesh of our enemies and used their bones for broth in our soup." And Leia says, "Wait, you mean... you fed a stormtrooper?" And she goes rushing off to the toilet to throw up. And Amelin says, "No, I think you want a hug." And she reaches out towards the furry creature, but he raises his spear and says, "Stay back, blue-haired woman." And she says, "No, I want a hug." And Wicket says, "I see how it is you believe you are entitled to what you want, regardless of the feelings of others." And Holdo says, "How dare you make such an outrageous claim? But it's okay. I forgive you. Let's hug and make up." And Wicket says, "No, foul woman. I will not allow it. I do not consent to this." And Holdo puts her hands on her side and says, "What are you talking about?" And then she steps forward, reaching out and says, "Just give me a hug." So Wicket, with all of the bravery and position he can muster, thrusts his spear directly through the palm of Holdo's outstretched hand. She shrieks in rage and slaps the bear across the face with her other hand, then storms off. The next day, after Leia had been consoled by Han, who also needed to be consoled after the realization of their incredibly morbid celebration on Endor with the Ewoks, she found out that Wicket had been arrested for assault. Wicket appealed to the judge of his case for trial by combat, an ancient and honored Ewok right, and Holdo said, "No, combat is stupid. If he just were to give me a hug, then none of this would have happened." And Wicket yells in the court, "See how my honor and reputation is impugned once again by this overgrown troll doll. She believes she can subjugate me and my people by forcing us to be hug slaves. No more. I demand justice." So the courtroom shows the video recordings from Wicket's body camera showing how she went to assault him with unwanted hugging advances and how he defended himself, and then she struck him. So the judge dismissed the case. But the next day, a group of nearly 24 people from various positions within the New Republic government filed a class action suit against Holdo for various forms of harassment, usually related to unwanted touching, most commonly in the forms of petting or hugging. And it was on Wicket, who had spent the last 10 years since Endor becoming an expert in New Republic law as a way to become the best ambassador he could for his people, to take the case as its lawyer. For months, the courtroom was filled with the accusations and vitriol. By the time it was ended, Amelin Holdo had been seen for the perverted and horrible woman that she was, stripped of her rank, bereft of friends, an outcast of society at large. For her two-faced ways, she was ordered to pay damages, and after the sentence was determined, still in the courtroom, she looked over at the victorious lawyer Wicket and said, "It's okay, Wicket. I forgive you. Now, can I get that hug so we can move past all this ugliness?" And Wicket says, "No!" So Amelin rushes forward and gives him a hug before Wicket can do anything. He is embarrassed and humiliated and turns to the judge and says, "Your Honor, I have petitioned for trial by combat. Now at this time I ask in reflection of the mockery that this woman has brought upon the court and the hideous way in which she has assaulted my person. Please grant me the right of this trial by combat." And the judge, wizened old Twillick that she is, removes her glasses and looks at Holdo and says, "Ma'am, you are the single most vile person to ever exist in this galaxy. Your double standards, your hypocrisy, your gaslighting, your unabashed refusal to respect individuals that disagree with you, you are the embodiment of everything that is wrong with our republic. And that is why I have decided to allow this brave and majestic Ewok to have his trial by combat." And Amelin says, "Oh, okay." So she grabs a gun, pulls it out, and shoots Wicket in the chest. The bear falls backward as police rush to capture her. And the judge says, "Arrest this woman for murder." And she says, "What? It was trial by combat." And the judge says, "No, it wasn't. We had to go over the rules and everything and set the place up." And Wicket, fuzzy ball of determination that he is, raises his hand and says, "Judge, wait." And the judge, in shocked awe, looks down at the noble beast and says, "Yes, Master Wicket." And Wicket says, "I will accept immediate trial by combat in this room under the condition that we stick to melee weapons." And the judge looks at Holdo, who is horrified that the bear stood up. And the judge says, "Of course, but don't you need medical attention?" And Wicket reaches his hand up towards his neck and grabs a hidden zipper, which he then pulls down to reveal that he had been wearing a jacket the entire time. "No, Judge, you see, I have a blaster-resistant jacket made using my own fur as a defense mechanism. Now that I have removed it, I have only my natural defenses of might and cunning." And Holdo says, "But I don't have a weapon." And Wicket tosses his spear to her feet and says, "Use this. I'll use my bare hands to defeat you." And Holdo looks down at the spear, then back at Wicket, who says, "My bare hands." And Holdo's eyes squint in the unmitigated anger that is oft possessed by people like her who have been made fools of publicly. She reaches for the spear, runs at Wicket, and thrusts full force at the bear. Wicket does a cartwheel, missing the spear as Holdo swings the shaft of the spear around. He jumps in the air and executes a flip over the blade. Holdo swings it around her own back, then brings it over her head in a furious downward strike. But Wicket runs forth between her legs, jumps on her back, placing his left hand under her jaw and his right hand on the back of her head, then leans his lips mere inches from her ear and says, "Hug this," then snaps the woman's neck. She falls to the ground, not dead, but instead permanently paralyzed from the neck down. The judge declares Wicket the winner, and Holdo goes on to write a book about overcoming the difficulty of being a paraplegic, which doesn't even sell 1,000 copies. Well, that is my video for today. Wicket, the Ewok, has defeated Admiral Holdo, which I am very grateful for. As you guys know, my YouTube channel members and patrons, you guys get a vote on these. So when I get to my next batch of 8, which will hopefully be somewhat soon, I'll put out the next batch of voting things, and we'll see. At the time of actually recording this, I don't have any YouTube channel members, so I haven't put anything on YouTube. But as soon as I do start getting channel members, which, you know, you might be a YouTube channel member that's watching this months after I originally posted it, check for those updates, and yeah, you will have the opportunity to vote. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.